It's kind of a drizzly day outside, so what better time than to make yeast rolls?
For today's recipe, you're going to need 2 tablespoons of shortening. We're not using butter today. You want to use a product something like Crisco. You need 3 tablespoons of sugar, 1 cup of hot water. I mean hot. Take a cup of water, put it in the microwave for 2.5 minutes. You want this stuff hot. You need 2 1/4 teaspoons of active dry yeast. If you're using the pre-measured packets, that's 1 packet. You need 1 egg, 1 teaspoon salt, and 2 1/4 cups of all-purpose flour. Now tonight our family's having Italian and they love this bread with a little Italian flavor in it, so I'm adding a half teaspoon of Italian seasoning, which is basil and oregano, and a half teaspoon of garlic powder. But normally these are traditional with no flavoring and they're wonderful all by themselves. We're going to be measuring flour today, and a lot of people just reach in and get a big old heaping cupful, but when it calls for a cup, you want to actually level it off, and what that's going to do is it's going to help to fill in the air bubbles that are underneath, and also make sure that when you measure it out, you actually get a cup of flour. Okay, so let's get started with our recipe. This is our hot water. We put it in the microwave for 2.5 minutes because we're using Crisco and we want to make sure that this stuff melts. So this is very hot water. I'm going to take it and pour it into a bowl. And then I'm going to take my Crisco or my shortening and I'm going to put that in as well. Then I'm going to add my sugar. Now I'm going to take a whisk and I am going to stir this around until the sugar is dissolved and the Crisco is completely melted. So I've been stirring and my Crisco is melted and my sugar is dissolved. I want to check the temperature because I wanted the water hot enough to melt the shortening, but I'm fixing to add the yeast and I don't want to kill my yeast because the water is too hot. And right now the temperature of the water is measuring a little too hot for my yeast. It's 134 degrees. I want it to drop down to 110 or less. So I'm going to set this aside. Now today I'm using bread machine yeast. It comes in a jar. You can use the individual packets, same thing. But we're just going to set this water aside and let it cool off for a little bit. So our water has been sitting and I'm going to check my temperature again and we've dropped down to 107. So now it's okay to add our yeast, and you want to be really careful, make sure everything is dissolved, make sure your water is cool enough, and then we're going to add that yeast into this water mixture. And you really want to mix it in well with your whisk because at first the yeast is going to want to kind of float on the top, but you really want it to start dissolving. So just kind of whisk it around. And when it starts looking like kind of sandy water, that's kind of where you want to be, but you want to make sure that that yeast is dissolved. Next, I'm going to take my salt, and I'm not going to add it to the yeast. I'm actually going to add it to the flour. I don't want to dump this just right on top of my yeast. And I'm going to give that a good mix just to kind of incorporate it a little bit. And notice that I'm going to add it to the bowl with my fork, not with the whisk. If you get the dough stuck in the whisk, you're going to be pulling it out. This is going to be a very sticky dough when we're done. So just dump your flour in just a little bit at a time and give it a good stir. And then we're going to add 1 egg. And just use your fork and just mix that around really well. This is very sticky, very tacky, but that's telling me that this dough is right as planned. Now tonight we're having Italian, so I'm actually adding a half teaspoon of Italian seasoning and a half teaspoon of garlic just to add a little flavor. Most of the time we make this plain. Tonight's just a special occasion. Now this dough is very sticky, it's very tacky, so if it sticks to everything when you are mixing and when you're trying to move it around, then this dough is perfect. Now that we're all mixed up, I'm going to place a moist napkin over the top and I'm going to sit it in a warm place for about 30 minutes. I want it to double in size. Now, if your kitchen is not very warm, you can always turn your oven on to 200 degrees, which is pretty low, and just sit this dough on top. It will be enough to keep it warm and allow it to rise without letting it get too hot. Our dough has been rising for 30 minutes in a warm place, and if we look at it, it is doubled in size and looking nice. So now we've got to make muffins. So we're going to be using our muffin pan. You want to spray it really well with cooking spray. You want these to come out without tearing up. Another thing you can do is use muffin liners, and I'm actually going to be doing that because I'm going to be taking a few of these for lunch. So we're just going to go ahead and use a scooper. You'll want to spray the scooper because it is a very sticky dough. Now, I'm not a person that measures things exactly when it comes to doing this, so some of my rolls are going to be larger than others, but using a scooper gives you a general amount of dough in each tin. Now these will have irregular tops when they come out of the oven. If you're not happy with that, grease your hands and just smooth the tops off. When my dough finished rising, I bumped the oven up to 425, and I'm going to put my rolls in the oven at 425, and I'm going to start checking them after 10 minutes. I want them to start turning golden on the top. It actually took about 12 minutes for me to see that golden color that I wanted, so now I want to check them for doneness. I want to take a knife and I want to insert it into one of the largest rolls, and if it comes out clean, then my yeast rolls are done. Now that my rolls are out of the oven, I want to take a stick of butter and just kind of glide it over the top of the muffins, and it's going to give them a little bit of a sheen, but it's also going to add that salty, buttery goodness. After you let these sit for a couple minutes, you want to go ahead and take them out of the muffin tin so that they can continue to cool. And if you sprayed your pans well, all you should have to do is just take the edge of a knife and kind of pry them up, and they should come right out. If they try to stick, just be a little gentle with them. They will come out. And I'm just going to let these cool till dinner. This bread is very versatile and it really goes with anything. We made an Italian version tonight, but the plain version is amazing with warm butter and jelly or even melted chocolate. And they're just kind of wonderful even on their own. If you enjoyed this recipe and you'd like them to continue, remember to like, comment, and share. Thanks, guys.